tonight on News 22. President Trump starts his second meeting with the leader of North Korea.
A butterfly sanctuary is at risk if President Trump builds the border wall.
And find out how to soothe a sore throat.
All that and more on News 22 Wednesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Victoria Valderrama.
And I'm Amanda Adame.
Explosive testimony from President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. Cohen told Congress the president has lied about business dealings and his personal life.
But Republicans claim Cohen is the liar who is angry about being passed over for a promotion. Omar Jimenez has the highlights from the hearing on Capitol Hill.
I am not protecting Mr. Trump anymore.
President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, blasting his former boss.
Since taking office, he has become the worst version of himself. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Cohen presenting a copy of a $35,000 check as evidence Trump directed hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
He asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair and to lie about it to his wife, which I did.
Cohen says then candidate Trump also knew WikiLeaks would release emails damaging to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign.
Mr. Trump knew from Roger Stone in advance about the WikiLeaks drop of emails.
And Cohen claims Trump lied during the presidential campaign about his intentions to develop a Trump Tower in Russia.
He lied about it because he never expected to win.
Republicans say, as they have throughout the hearing, that Cohen isn't credible. The now disbarred lawyer pleaded guilty to tax crimes, campaign finance violations, and lying to Congress.
The first announced witness for the 116th Congress is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress.
Cohen will go to prison in May for 3 years, but as today's testimony proves,
I have fixed.
He's not going quietly.
But I am no longer your fixer, Mr. Trump.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
The Cohen testimony was a distraction while President Trump was meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. The two have dined together and had the first of their meetings in Hanoi, Vietnam. NBC News is reporting U.S. negotiators are no longer demanding that North Korea agree to disclose a full accounting of its nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs as part of the talks.
Okay, we gotta talk about what a nice day it was. It was oddly humid outside.
It was oddly humid, but oddly beautiful. Danielle's next to tell us more with first look at weather.
This is Danielle Gutierrez with your current conditions. Taking a look outside right now, we have mostly cloudy skies with those beautiful temperatures at 65 degrees. We have winds coming out of the west at 11 miles per hour, humidity at 25%, a dew point sitting at 22 degrees, and a barometer reading at 30.02 inches. Now taking a look at the weather today, Las Cruces temperatures have definitely started to warm up as we experienced a high today at 71 degrees, which is well above our average of 66 degrees. We woke up to an overnight low of 41 degrees. Now throwing it back to the year 1986, we hit record high temperatures at 84 degrees, and in the year 1977, record low temperatures at 23. We had no rainfall today, leaving our yearly rainfall at 0.06 inches. Now those are all the current conditions I have for you right now. I'll be back with your national forecast. For now, back to the desk.
A group of over 180 undocumented workers are in federal custody tonight near Selena Park. The migrants are mostly Central American families as well as unaccompanied minors. The group was found crossing an area of the border near Selena Park, New Mexico. Additional medical staff was dispatched to Selena Park to help treat the group. This is the second group of more than 100 immigrants to be caught in the Selena Park area this year. According to CNN, a steady 1 million immigrants leave their country each year and enter the United States in hopes of a different life. With Donald Trump declaring a national emergency because of the border wall, there will be an expected decrease in businesses.
One immigrant who has run a business for many years in Las Cruces had to face many challenges during her journey to the U.S. I got to take a closer look.
I'm Jamaican man. What do you think? Yeah.
Meet Dolores Dallas, a Jamaican-born citizen, a mother, grandmother, entrepreneur, business owner, and published author. Pictures of her newborn granddaughter fill her with emotion. Dolores looks back at how she got here, breaking the law and facing danger.
My daily routine that I can remember, get up in the morning and you have to go down to the river to catch water. And you have to fill up a barrel, big barrel of water.
While Jamaica is beautiful, Dolores was poor and she wanted to do better.
I wasn't dreaming of it at all. My mom came here and my aunt and my uncle, and they invited me to come, but they knew I had children. And so it was a choice whether I leave my kids and come with hoping that someone, whomever I leave them with, is going to take care of them.
So she set out on a journey, an undocumented entry into the U.S.
My journey getting here, oh Lord, very bad. I had a very bad journey. And I came across the border to Michigan, the border of Canada and Michigan, to get into the United States. And I could have lost my life.
First Los Angeles, then to Portland, Oregon, when she started her business. She would buy and sell clothes to have trunk show parties.
The idea of writing my book was really my daughter. She pushed me into doing it.
This is Dolores' new location of her business, Divine Boutique. She is not the only immigrant in the United States achieving great success. A report by New American Economy shows nearly 6 million workers were employed at immigrant-owned businesses in 2016.
Dolores isn't finished. She's hopeful for her future. But one thing remains clear: she is proud of the sacrifices she made and knows her children were able to escape a life of poverty and violence.
Where would you like me?
And her book is on Amazon if you want to learn more about her story. Wisconsin is joining New Mexico and California in pulling its National Guard troops from the southern border. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers said it should be the responsibility of Customs and Border Protection to secure the border. Evers also said there isn't enough evidence to back the president's claim of a national emergency. Congress will vote soon on legislation that could reject the president's national emergency declaration. As the House votes to stop President Trump's emergency declaration to pay for a border wall, others have turned to filing lawsuits.
One organization just lost its case in court against the federal government's claim to take over their land. But they hope their fight, much like what they're fighting for, still has wings. Bill Weir reports.
The Rio Grande sits a 100-acre pocket of life, unlike any in North America.
For butterflies, it's like that movie Fantasia. Everything's in bloom in the fall, and you have to walk and talk with your hand covering your mouth so you don't suck in a butterfly.
The National Butterfly Center is the tip of the funnel for these beautiful little migrants, like the monarch, which flies thousands of miles back and forth from Mexico to as far as Montana and Wisconsin.
We got the little skipper right there.
As director, the only thing Mariana Trevino-Wright used to worry about was pointing them out to school kids. But these days, she gets hate mail.
A whole lot of you and your butterflies. I hope MS-13 rapes you. A lot of ignorant, awful, hateful stuff.
For the butterfly people.
For the butterfly people.
Living here, she's quite used to border security.
So this, I'm sure, is somebody from the Department of Defense or somewhere else coming to check out this area.
But the summer after President Trump took office, things changed.
They were cutting down our trees and mowing down vegetation and widening the road. I said, "Who are you and what are you doing?" And they said, "The government sent us to clear this land from here to the river for the border wall."
The plan calls for 18 feet of solid concrete, topped by 18 feet of steel bollards, right through the middle of their property. Then they saw what this machine was doing to a neighboring wildlife preserve. And that's what they're using just west of you.
On the forest, on the National Wildlife Refuge.
When they realized how devastating the so-called enforcement zone would be to their habitat, they sued. And last week, they lost. So what are you going to do now?
I understand from the lawyers we'll be appealing or refiling.
We asked, but the Border Patrol does not comment on ongoing litigation. But in this letter sent to local stakeholders, they're arguing for 30 new miles of wall around this area because the Rio Grande Valley typically leads the nation in arrests of illegal immigrants. What it doesn't mention is that those numbers nationwide are way down since 2000. And Mariana says she has witnessed 3 illegal crossings in the last 6 years.
We absolutely are in favor of border security. If there were a national emergency, why would I drive to work here every day? We have 6 children. Why would they allow mom to report for duty on the banks of the Rio Grande River every day, unarmed, to receive school children and birders and butterflyers from around the world?
Congressionally approved plans would have spared this place, but the president's emergency order trumps all that.
So we're just watching and waiting every day to see if that machinery shows up here.
And all the while, these little guys flutter, oblivious to borders and politics, with no idea how fragile their future might be.
The most recent budget passed by Congress exempts construction on the center's property, but the National Butterfly Center says the property could be threatened again in the 2020 budget battle. Well, stay tuned. Danielle will be back to take a look at your national forecast.
And later, the United Methodist Church struck down a policy change. What isn't changing in their church is next on News 22 Wednesday.
From pure electric to pure performance, Motor Week looks at factors mattering most to consumers. Hi, I'm Norma Vichot, Program Manager here at KRWG, and its 3rd decade of reviewing cars, trucks, and utility vehicles spanning the needs of buyers. Motor Week shares tips on keeping your car running and keeping the pace in the automotive lifestyle. The engines start revving Saturday mornings at 11:30. For more programming information, visit krwg.org.
The KRWG Music Spotlight promotes local talent who perform their own songs. Singer-songwriters and bands with a half hour of original music perform a mini concert in our studios. If you're interested in being on the show, email us at feedback@nmsu.edu and make sure to include a link to your music in the email. Watch the KRWG Music Spotlight anytime in the local TV section at krwg.org.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters.
A major decision in the United Methodist Church in St. Louis, Missouri means it may not be united for long.
Methodist leaders voted on whether to allow members of the LGBTQ community become ministers in the church and perform same-sex weddings. Over 900 members of the clergy voted and decided no LGBT people will be allowed in leadership roles. Those on the other side of the issue say there will likely be a split in the church.
We stand against the spirit of hatred, judgment, and discrimination which creates division instead of unity.
The United Methodist Church is now a United States church. So for someone to suggest that if you support some other plan, it will be limited, the actions will be limited to America, that is a delusion.
Other mainline Protestant churches such as the Presbyterian Church USA, the Episcopal Church, and the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America do allow openly gay leaders. They lost members after the decision. A hostage situation ended with one man being shot by state police earlier this morning in Hatch. The incident began this morning when a vehicle failed to stop at the Border Patrol checkpoint. The suspect led them on a chase. Before stopping, he held a 7-year-old girl at gunpoint. During the standoff, an officer fired their weapon and shot the suspect. The child was safely rescued and unharmed. The suspect was airlifted to a nearby hospital, and Interstate 25 has been closed until further notice.
Lawmakers want to tackle on the measles outbreak. There have been close to 160 cases in 10 states where many don't vaccinate. That is the source of the problem. And sore throats are never pleasant.
triggered by the common cold or flu, but the cold, dry air can also be a factor. Experts say gargling with salt water can be an effective way to ease a sore throat, as salt dries moisture and can prevent bacteria from growing. Soothe your irritated throat by staying hydrated to thin mucus. Hot liquids such as tea and broth are good choices because the warmth soothes pain. Adding honey to your tea or other warm drinks may also help. Honey has known antimicrobial properties which speed healing. Studies in children show that honey is better than the popular over-the-counter cough suppressants. Keeping the throat moist by sucking on a hard piece of candy or a medicated lozenge can have a numbing effect. If your sore throat is severe, accompanied by fever or swollen glands, you might have a bacterial infection and should see your doctor. For today's Health Minute, I'm Andrea Vasquez.
And much of the country is getting rain and snow, and we haven't been getting any.
Lucky us. And Danielle is next with the weather.gov national forecast.
Now let's go ahead and take a glance at the weather conditions across the nation. Now here, winter storm Ryan is set to spread snow across the Northeast into early tomorrow. This includes places, as you can see on this map, such as Boston, Hartford, Connecticut, and New York. Now, as you can see, most of these places will be experiencing 1 to 3 inches of snow. However, Manchester and Boston will be experiencing 3 to 5 inches of snow, and Albany here will be experiencing 5 to 8 inches of snow. Now, moving on to my next map, we're going to be looking at the effects of the snowfall tonight in these areas. Now, as you can see, these areas will be experiencing some slippery roads, reduced visibility, and travel disruptions. Now, where roads are not cleared, Thursday morning travel can be difficult. Along with the slow traffic, flight delays can also be an issue for these areas. Now on my final map, we're going to be looking at a different part of the country. As you can see here, these are heavy rains that will be affecting the southeastern parts of the United States beginning tomorrow through Monday. Now these areas can expect flash floodings, swollen rivers, and travel disruptions. People in these areas, whether on travel, on vacation, or living there, are encouraged to stay inside. Now that's all the national forecast I have for you right now. I'll be back with your local temperatures right after this break.
Here and now, NPR News middays, weekday afternoons from noon to 2 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
If you love cookies, you'll want to watch every episode of Season 9 of Martha Bakes. We're bringing you cookies from all over the world. There's so much to learn. Get your cookie jars ready because we're going to fill them up to the brim on an all-new season of Martha Bakes.
Saturday at 4 p.m.
For over 30 years, Nancy Zeman brought you sewing expertise and inspiration.
Speedy sewing projects? Well, search no farther.
Continuing the long tradition of sharing her love of sewing.
My goal is to teach in this classroom
the best of Sewing with Nancy.
Sewing gave me confidence.
Learn techniques and tap into your own creativity.
And now the fun starts.
Join us for the best of Sewing with Nancy.
Wednesday at 2:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday. We're going to be taking a look at New Mexico now. We can see Clovis here at 55 degrees, Roswell at 65 degrees, Santa Fe at a lower 46 degrees, Farmington even lower at 45 degrees. We have Las Cruces here at 65 degrees and Deming at 63. Now taking a look at New Mexico tomorrow, we can see temperatures warm up a little bit. We have Clovis at 72 degrees, Roswell at 78, Ruidoso at 71, Santa Fe there at 55, Las Cruces here at 71, and Deming at 74 degrees. Now taking a look at our neighboring cities, we have Truth or Consequences here tonight with clear skies and a low of 41 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny skies. And tomorrow we have Silver City at a high of 65 degrees, tonight at a low of 35 degrees. Taking a look here in Las Cruces, we have clear skies tonight with 41 degrees and a high tomorrow of a higher 78 degrees. Now those are all the local conditions I have for you right now. I'll be back with your 5-day forecast later on in the show. For now, back to the desk.
A Texas hospital is vowing to learn from their mistakes after a fatal mistake.
Here's Irene Romero with your Southwest Minute.
A 75-year-old woman is dead after a medical mistake. It happened in Baylor University St. Luke's Hospital in Houston. She died after being given the wrong blood type in a transfusion. The president of the hospital says it is deeply disappointing and the center will learn from these mistakes. A cleanup is underway after a car crashed into a doctor's office in Fullerton, California. Authorities are investigating what caused the crash. A witness says a dip in the intersection made the driver lose control. The women in the car were not seriously hurt. And the Grand Canyon is celebrating 100 years as a national park. The actual birthday was yesterday. The park will have special events through the year. There will be cultural demonstrations all year long. The project 100 Years of Grand is also available online. I'm Irene Romero with your Southwest Minute.
Well, the NMSU basketball team is well on their way to being WAC champions again.
Well on their way indeed, and Michaela Romero is next with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the Aggies women's track team is back from the WAC championships, and the men's basketball team is on the road again with only 3 more games until their WAC championship. Don't go too far because News 22 Sports is next.
This shaved ice is bigger than my head, I think. Say cheese. The double selfie.
The baby duckling would have literally hatched hours ago.
People like the gulping sound too. They like the sound a lot.
And then we can put this slide in.
Great to have you here. Cheers.
Saturday morning at 10:30 on KRWG-Public Media.
Dela en iakttagelse i samband med de 4 morden.
Det är en varning. Om din dotter nu har sett honom så kan han naturligtvis ha sett henne.
Jag har en hemlighet.
Sunday at 5 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Michaela Romero, and let's talk sports. The women's track team is back from competing in Idaho this past weekend, and the women are getting off the bus from a solid weekend. Their hard work this season paid off, where there were many personal WAC championships this past weekend and personal bests from each event. The Aggies got second place to GCU. It was a great weekend for the Aggies. This is the best the team has done in program history here at NMSU. Now, the women are looking forward to the outdoor season coming up in March. They will have a few weeks to switch gears and prepare for the outdoor season. Their first meet to kick off the outdoor season will be March 15th in El Paso at UTEP. And athletes of the week are Astra Wallace and Eli Chuha. Wallace crushed the 60-meter run with a time of 8.45 seconds, getting a program record and personal best at the WAC championships this weekend. And Chuha was a key player for the pass game against UT Rio Grande Valley, making his 1,000 shot off a pass from McQueen. The men's basketball team took victory these past home games and want to continue their winning streak. The men will be on the road once again with only 3 more games until the WAC championship semifinals in Las Vegas. The men will be heading to Kansas City to take on the Roos once again. The Aggies have already defeated the Roos before in January with a score of 70-54 and are determined to keep their victory. The men play tomorrow at 5 p.m. For those of you that want to cheer on and keep up with the Aggies, the game will be aired on ESPN, and the men's Twitter and Instagram will keep you posted on live updates of the game. And starting today, the women's swim team are diving into the WAC championships. The women have a long weekend ahead of competition until Saturday. This morning, the women had their diving prelims, and for those who did well, will advance to finals. Tomorrow, swimming prelims will also start up. The women are expected to get second according to the pre-championship coaches poll. Hopefully the Aggies can show up and get that championship title. And there's a big game going on right now for high school, the district boys basketball playoffs, and the score right now is Las Cruces is winning at 35 points,
and Mayfield 28. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Danielle will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, it's a day Texans have been dreaming of for years. What local star is looking to get their own holiday is next on News 22 Wednesday.
Movable Feast moves into a brand new season.
It's local halibut.
We made our version of porchetta. I'm Pete Evans, traveling coast to coast.
I'm Michelle Bernstein, dishing it up in the Dairylands of Wisconsin.
We're throwing a party.
And you're invited.
Movable Feast with Fine Cooking Magazine.
Sunday at 4 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
You fill up my One of the most popular singers in America, John Denver. Explore the man behind the music.
What Frank Sinatra was to the 40s, Elvis Presley was to the 50s, and the Beatles were to the 60s, John Denver was to the 70s.
John Denver, Country Boy.
Monday at 7 p.m.
Crack when Rosie get on board. We gonna ride till there ain't no more to go. Taking it slow.
Join us for a special evening with America's favorite singer-songwriter, Neil Diamond, only on PBS.
Monday at 8:30 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. President Trump visits North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Hanoi. The leaders met to discuss denuclearization. A butterfly sanctuary is at risk of closing its doors. Trump proposed border wall will cut right through their sanctuary. And we learned some tips on how to keep sore throats away and ease the pain when we have them.
Texas celebrates Memorial Day, Labor Day, President's Day. What about Selena Day? A bill by the Texas legislature was filed to designate April 16th as Selena Quintanilla Perez Day, a memorial of the late singer's birthday as a state holiday. The singer was shot and killed at age 23 by her former employee Yolanda Salivar on March 31st, 1995. A bill must now be voted out of the House committee, then votes on by the entire House. It would then move on to the Senate and Governor.
And that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you for joining us.
This news brief en español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Les saluda Gaby Hernández. Agentes de la patrulla fronteriza detuvieron a 180 extranjeros ilegales esta madrugada en el área de Sunland Park. El servicio de emergencias médicas respondió a la escena para brindarles atención médica. Algunos de los detenidos fueron trasladados a un hospital local. Esta es una situación que los agentes de la patrulla fronteriza continúan enfrentando en el sur de Nuevo México. Cientos de padres e hijos son encontrados por agentes después de haber enfrentado un viaje peligroso en manos de contrabandistas. Este es el segundo grupo de más de 100 personas que han sido detenidos desde el inicio del año en el área de Sunland Park. Un hombre buscado por doble asesinato fue arrestado en Presidio, Texas, al intentar salir de los Estados Unidos rumbo a México. El doble homicidio ocurrió el día de Año Nuevo en Carolina del Norte. José Manuel Regino Vargas, de 20 años, viajaba en un vehículo como pasajero cuando los agentes de la protección fronteriza le pidieron su información. Al obtener su nombre y su huella digital, este fue encontrado en la base de datos del Centro Nacional de Información sobre Delitos. Vargas fue entregado al Departamento de Policía de Presidio y fue ingresado en la cárcel del condado de Brewster, donde espera su extradición. Para Noticias 22, Gaby Hernández.